At what point in the tournament did it click where you're like, oh my god, I might win this thing? You know, obviously when you're down to the 5 big blinds, you're kind of disheartened, right? But then you got the momentum
actually,
back.
I was frustrated, but I guess maybe the experience and mind calluses.
Yeah.
You just never give up.
现在去跟我的朋友吃饭，就是那天赢那个冠军的，他那个 event 是 Big O， 我那天有说到，就是他其实是5张 Omaha， 对，其实我不会玩这个游戏。然后这朋友其实是我认识很久很久的一个朋友，就是以前跟他打很小的 Cash Game， 然后他后来就打的 No Limit 越来越少，他就开始打 PLO。其实好几年前我们那时候有一个 Wsop 的一个群组，我跟他还有一些其他一些朋友，然后那时候都会一起讨论手牌啊这些，然后休息的时候都会一起去吃饭啊，然后这样就是大家的故事啊，很多很骚的故事，然后就一起在群组就是发截图啊，说你看刚刚这个神经病啊，用什么这个牌靠我啊什么的，蛮好玩的。Hi, we're gonna be 5.
We got a champion among us.
Look at this guy! Look at this guy, man! Look at this guy! Yeah. So happy for you, man.
It was amazing. Anything for you guys besides water?
The black tea.
Do you have any bottles of champagne or anything like that? Or you have champagne?
I wish we can sell it, but we don't.
I'm just joking. No, my friend right here just won a really big a tournament in the poker tournament, and he's a world champion now. So that's what I say. You were down to 5 big ones.
I was down to 5 bigs on day 2, like mid-day 2. I was down to mid-day 2. I was down to 5
This
bigs.
is a 3-day tournament, right? Or 4 days?
3-day, but they forced us to finish the heads up on day 4. It was an unscheduled day 4. It's a 3-day tournament.
So it was a Big O, right? Big O was like 5 card
High-low. 5 card high-low.
High-low, right,
yeah,
right, right.
5 card high-low.
Man, that's crazy. How many players were in there?
1,500.
That's a lot of players to go through.
Yeah.
No wonder it was 3 days, you know?
Yeah.
And what was that first prize?
300 pretty much.
300,000. Wow. How does that feel, dude? To just like, is this real right now? Like, I was telling them, we used to be in a group chat together 7 years ago or something. And we used to just like talk about bad beat stories at the World Series and go on brace together. And like, here you are, you finally won a bracelet, and you know.
It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, never giving up. Just keep on taking those 3 hours on the river over and over and over.
Yeah.
And yet just coming back and just keep doing the right thing over and over. And
At what point in the tournament did it click where you're like, oh my god, I might win this thing? You know, obviously when you're down to the 5 big blinds, you're kind of disheartened, right? But then you got the momentum
actually,
back.
I was frustrated, but I guess maybe the experience and mind calluses.
Yeah.
You just never give up. Going with the proper hand when it comes.
For sure.
Within 1 level, mid-day 2, from those 5 big blinds, it took 1 level for me to run it up to 13 chips at that point with about 5 tables. That was the point where we went to dinner break and I was like 13 chips and I was like,
holy shit.
okay, so now I have the actual work to do. Like this is where I have an actual chance of getting there because I know how to use those chips.
Was there any hand at the later stages when it was down to like very few people where you were like at risk and you were like, holy shit, if I lose this, like it might just be over? Like,
yeah, those 5 big blind point, that was not the last point that I was in dire straits. So when I came back from dinner break, things started going bad.
Okay.
Like I was getting big hands and just doubling short stacks and having to make some really big folds just to preserve chips and my tournament life. And then we came back to day 3 with 17 people, and I was below I was like 12 out of 17. I started dwindling down again because nothing was going my way. I was the shortest stack with like 14 people left or 12 people left. I was the shortest stack. Then I was able to chip up a little bit back, and then I got a massive hand. Then I tripled up to nearly the chip lead. I never let it go.
Yeah, you never let go the chip lead.
Yeah, like we got to the final table. I was second in chips, but very close to the first, almost tied.
Okay.
And I never let it go up until the big downswing heads up. But the entire final table, I just never let go of the...
Drop the hammer on those guys. Just every hand just pounding them.
I mean, I just try to do my best every single hand, but like it's not like just get chips and you go with it. Like you dwindle down and then
you had to battle back,
and you have to battle back. Yeah.
For sure.
After I won, I didn't take any breaks. I went with the guys. I had some lunch and I jumped into the 10K PLO.
You didn't even think about maybe just taking a little break, celebrate a little bit, man. You just jump right into the next one, huh?
Ain't no rest for the wicked, man. There's gonna be plenty of time to celebrate when the series is over.
That's true.
But what's better to celebrate? Better to celebrate the one bracelet win to celebrate two bracelet wins.
That's true. That is true. Two is better than one.
Yeah. So
I did want to ask you, man. I'm trying to play more tournaments now, and we've known each other forever, and we used to play Cash together. Because you still play Cash. You play a lot of Cash.
Regularly.
Yeah.
It's just Cash for me. Yeah.
How do you make the switch back and forth? What kind of adjustments are you making?
In the early years, I would just go to the Cash game, and I wouldn't play well after busting the tournament.
Right.
But after several years of doing that, now it happens automatically to me because I treat it as completely two different games. Like the difference between No Limit and PLO or like it's just two completely different games.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this, because I talked to a couple other people. How much emphasis would you put on like studying actual charts? Like do you do that?
I probably don't do that enough.
Right.
But I'm fortunate to have great friends that do.
Yeah.
Like I do discuss, I'm dissecting some hands with them and occasionally reviewing that type of stuff. But I myself don't really use any of these tools.
Yeah, you would say for the most part, like live poker tournaments, there's still so much room for just exploitation, huh? Like
yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes, you just know, like, oh, like I can deviate from the standard, what the chart says here because I've been playing this player for 8 hours and I've been watching what he's been turning over.
That's exactly right. I'm more of a player that adjusts my plays to the situation. So if I'm playing a GTO player, I'm gonna do GTO or counter GTO. If I'm playing a player who doesn't know how to spell GTO, there's no point using GTO against him.
That's one of the biggest mistakes I've seen at all the events that I played so far this summer is like, I'll see like a professional poker player that's obviously like studied, right? He'll try like a blocker play on like an old guy that obviously is just there playing recreationally, and like it's not gonna work, and he just like donates his whole stack. Like, how did you think this was gonna work against this guy? Because not even thinking about those things, and I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of players do. They take too much of what the resources and the information that's out there and like what you're supposed to do with this hand and things like that, and they try to apply it in a situation where it's just not applicable.
Yeah, I tailor my game to my opponent.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to tailor my hand.
Right. Based on theory.
Yeah.
Strictly on theory only.
I've always done that. Like if I'm facing opponent type A, my strategy is gonna be X. If I'm facing opponent type B, my strategy is gonna be Y, etc., etc.
Is there anything else that you think would be helpful for me in terms of playing more MTTs and it's crazy, man. A lot of people are like, why am I doing this? And the answer is just because like I think it's a good growth opportunity. I think like you said, the games are so different, and I think it's a good challenge to like try to learn how to play tournaments. Before, like I would always kind of not look down on, but like look at tournament players as like, oh, like it's not real poker, or but like now that I'm playing more, I understand that like it's poker. It's a different variant, and I started to realize that it's actually kind of fascinating. Like certain spots, and some parts are actually a lot more complex than some of like the deeper stack games that I play in Cash. Because knowing the fact that you can just reload anytime, that actually takes away some of the complexity. Because a lot of times it's just like, well, if he has it, just call and then just reload, right?
Yeah, and then reload and cover him, right? Cover him.
Exactly. Chips and then 200,000, please.
Some of the most complex spots I think, are in the BVB.
Blind versus blind, yes.
Yeah.
One, yeah. It's just such a weird, unknown territory for a lot of people, you know?
Yeah, for majority of the people.
Yeah.
Even like obviously good players, it's quite a spot that requires a lot of attention.
For sure.
So that's one thing.
That's worth looking more into.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Another thing that I would say is what I learned: never be afraid or concerned about going down to nothing in blinds. As long as you play it right, a lot of the times you obviously will bust. But if you give up on that, you will bust more often.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you will definitely have a chance to spin it up.
Never just be like, well, I have 6 big blinds, 5 big blinds. I'm just gonna dump it here because I'm over it. I'm over this tournament. I'm over it. Right? Always put the chips in when you think it's the best play, no matter how many chips you have left. And
that's one of the things that I learned in latter years. Like, no matter how little chips you have,
never give up, man.
Yeah.
Chip in the chair.
Clear the board and it's over.
Clear the board. That's right, clear the board. Good game, man. Good game.